Hey, what's happening, guys? Dan Darrow here with another Options in Play video update. So, as these weeks keep piling up, volatility is still crazy high. Obviously, a lot going on in the world. I think it's nice to have some sort of degree of consistency. So, on Fridays, that means earnings on the radar. While these past couple weeks, earnings have taken kind of a backseat as we get into April. So this coming week, it's going to be the start of April, and that means earnings season is literally right around the corner. So um, it's going to be certainly interesting earnings season. I mean, it, just based off the warnings and what we've seen over the last couple weeks, it seems like the numbers are going to be all over the place. So would not surprise me to see if we do start to consolidate in the market, then potentially have earnings season be like the next catalyst for volatility for like individual names. All right. That being said, this coming week, not super busy, but there are a couple interesting ones. LK, not one of those, so still not confirmed. All right. Monday, they have tentatively before the open, but they haven't confirmed, so probably not likely to be Monday. After the close Monday, it is confirmed. Restoration Hardware. So about 22 to 24, even maybe 25 option spreads are really wide on this one. And I'd say it would normally be interesting, um, but option pricing a little bit high, and Nike, Lulu, two prominent retailers that didn't move as much as the options were anticipating. What's interesting about Restoration Hardware is that it actually is still pretty heavily shorted even after this drop. People really haven't covered a whole lot of their short, and that could make for kind of like a big swing, right? I feel like it does have room for 20 to 25 either way, but thin options, wide spreads, a little bit more elevated option pricing is going to make it kind of tough. I think if this is one, if you have conviction and you're patient and you can get filled on options at decent prices, it might be worth a look. But like the lower liquidity and wide spreads, probably going to make it kind of tough, just in general, to get any sort of size. So uh, I might hold off just for that reason alone. Tuesday before the open, a couple staples. So Conagra, they're looking for about 325 to 350 in that ballpark, and then McCormick is about 14, 15, 16 in that range. Those are monthly options, though. Um, so the chart's fairly similar, not exactly the same, but fairly similar, just over the past like month and a half, and General Mills, recent staple that just reported, it didn't have a very big move off of earnings. This has been a roller coaster, but it wasn't a big mover on earnings. So I guess I'm a little bit more hesitant to lay out the money on these. I've been focused on Kraft Heinz, like the way it's been setting up, like the way it's been moving. Pricing on the Kraft Heinz option is not bad either because they don't have a catalyst this coming week. So I might watch that as like a sympathy trade up for at least it's probably more in line with like a Conagra than a McCormick. After the bell Tuesday, BlackBerry, but I'm not really interested in this. With everything else going on, this is not really a name I'd prefer to put money into. Um, Wednesday before the open, Lamb Wesson, so another staple, 8 to 9 points. Those are monthly options, is what they're looking for. I don't really have a whole lot of experience trading this one. Options are a little bit more on the expensive side because you're paying for all the extra time because they're monthlies. So I'm thinking probably just leave that one alone too. After the bell Wednesday, retailer PVH, say about 9.5 to 10.5, kind of in that ballpark. Those are monthly options though. So PVH, what you notice is that it's been hit very hard, and it also really hasn't bounced. So some other retailers have bounced. This one really hasn't. Now I haven't traded this very often in the last couple of years, and I I feel like this is one of those names that is not very consistent, but it'll occasionally have like a pretty large swing. So not consistent, but maybe like one every out of every three, one out of every 4 quarters, you see a pretty big move. Is this going to be the quarter? I don't know. Like the way a lot of these retailers have moved, haven't been particularly volatile on earnings. Now If you're looking for a sympathy trade, Ralph Lauren, it tends to move with this, so that has weekly options, and they're also probably going to be a little bit less expensive because there's no catalyst. So I might look at Ralph Lauren as a possible like sympathy trade. Before they open on Thursday, a few. So Acuity, AYI, 14 to 15, give or take, is what they're looking for. Those are monthly options. We rode this for a swing trade after last quarter. So last quarter they missed, and then rode it for like a swing trade when it started to break down. Now, the stock has been absolutely crushed, and the pricing on the options is pretty consistent to what it has moved over the past 2 years, because this stock around earnings has been just like the definition of consistency for the last couple of years. So here, 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 right here. So you can see that it's like good or bad, it tends to move very, very consistently. Now, an $80 stock is a lot different than a $140 stock. So options, they seem kind of expensive because now it is an $80 stock. So I think what I'm going to do is probably like hold off on earnings and see if it like kind of sets up after for like a swing trade, because it worked pretty well in the aftermath of last earnings. So maybe like look at some sort of like similar strategy this time around. CarMax, so a retail name here. 7.5 to 8 points is what they're looking for. Now, I mean, car sales, like a lot of other like sales, retail, discretionary, just come to a screeching halt. So I don't know if CarMax is going to, like I don't know what's really going to move it, other than maybe some commentary. I don't really have a strong opinion on it. And actually, if I was going to look at something like in the car sales space, I think I might actually prefer to just stick with Carvana, because Carvana more volatile, has weekly options, and I feel like it could possibly react to this CarMax number. Walgreens, so a big retail report. 4.5 points is what they're looking for Walgreens. Now, I think that this should benefit from the coronavirus, right? I mean, it had like a really nice run. It's come all the way back down. But, I mean, it seems like one of those names like CVS probably should benefit for people like, stocking up on staples, medicines, etc., right? Their stores are still open too. Valuation, not too bad. So I'm more bullish biased on it, and I think I might look at it for maybe like a speculative bullish idea into earnings. After the bell Thursday, Chewy's. So the pet delivery, like the pet med, all things pet supply delivery. 5 points is what they're looking for. And to me, this is actually one of the more interesting setups next week, because it's rallied sharply. What you'll notice is that it's basically just bumping up into like this key area of resistance, like post IPO, right? Um, Still pretty high short interest. It's got like a head of momentum, and it seems like it sets up for like a big move, like whether like up or down. I mean, if it breaks resistance, you got a clean move up into like to retest the IPO high. If it fails, I mean, it's come a long way in the last like 2 weeks. So, I mean, I feel like this sets up pretty well for a volatility strategy. And last but not least, Friday before the open, Constellation. So 17 to 18 points, first of all, that's what they're looking for. Booze. You would think booze would be recession proof, but surprisingly, the booze stocks haven't been acting that great. Um, and this has really taken a hit. It's going to be, well, next Friday is kind of a long ways off in this market, but if it stays where it is or trades lower, you can see it's below the bottom from 2019. So, I mean, I feel like this is a pattern where you could see a pretty big swing either way. And option pricing, it's a little bit high, but not too bad. So maybe if I can get the risk down, might look at a volatility strategy on this one too. So to me, a couple of like the more interesting names next week are all like towards like the back end of the week, and a lot can change between now and then. So got to see how the week plays out, and then we can make a decision on these names. All right. So stay safe out there, stay healthy. Like keep an eye on your family, keep an eye on your friends. We're all going to get through this together, and what's most important is just like the loved ones around you right now. So that's the main focus. Trading comes after that. There's going to be plenty of volatility for a while. I'm convinced of it, and we got earnings season coming up too. So there's gonna be a lot going on over the next month. So have a safe, healthy weekend, and we'll talk to you guys on Monday.